This is Be the Giraffe with Chris Jarvis. It's time to evolve and elevate. Welcome back. Segment 4. The first 3 have been absolute fire. I am with Ramon Peralta, the author of Launch Your Brand. I know everybody's coming back for the golden nugget you have that you teased everybody with at the end of the last segment. You're the one who should have the TV show. But I want to quickly go over some of the things that you talked about. Really important for people starting a business. Putting yourself out there is so important. I mean, really, really important to put yourself out there. And I know for me, I call it going live versus sitting in the lab. In the lab is when I'm in my house and I'm surrounded by whiteboards and I'm trying to sketch out the perfect plan. But I learned that going live, actually talking to somebody, trying to sell the idea, getting real feedback with live ammunition is invaluable. And so by putting yourself out there when it's not perfect, you talked about going out there, talking to people, taking meetings, asking questions, and listening to the answers, you found opportunities and you found a gig that you're like, I'm going to solve a problem for somebody. And then you went out and found the people you needed to help you solve the problem when you hired Jorge and you expanded your company's offerings because that's what it was. And that was, my whole career has been pivot based on what does the market need. Mm-hmm. So, and then once you figure out what you do, how do you differentiate from other people? All that was great. So people, get yourself out there, talk to people, ask questions. Most importantly, listen to the answers so you can figure out what people really want. You gave a great comment about asking people what worked and what didn't work with the last person. Mm-hmm. So important because people will tell you, God, I hated this. Well, then we're not going to do that. Right. My dad was a salesman. I was like, how are you so good? He said, I asked people what was most important. He's like, there's 3 things. There's price, there's speed, and there's quality. You can have 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And I'd ask him which ones you want. And then I'd focus on those 2 because that was, you can't ask them what they want. And he's like, how hard is it? You ask them what they want and then you tell them what they want to hear and then you have a deal. So anyway, so with all of that, great advice. If you didn't hear it, please go back and watch segment 3. It was fantastic. But you said you have some gold. So now we'll get into the solid gold. I'll shut up because people please we want more Ramon. So Ramon, tell us your golden nuggets, please.
Yes. And listen, all of this kind of segues right into the next piece because what you just shared about putting yourself out there, not just becoming a subject matter expert, but meeting with folks and exchanging your client list. Do it in the spirit of helping others. Don't go and see what you can get out of it because that energy is, people won't continue to have sit downs with you. But if you get known as a connector or somebody that introduces other people or brings, opportunities to others, then that is a great brand reputation for you. You're a connector, expand your network. People you'll basically create an army of brand ambassadors. There are going to be people out there talking about you, and that's going to multiply the opportunities that come your way. So think of it in that way. Think of it abundantly. Think about it in helping others and paying it forward. So we talked about being that subject matter expert. I want to talk about the gold. I call it the golden content ratio. So if you think of this as a pie chart, you have this circle. Half of that circle, 50% of what you're posting should be educational. And what I mean by posting is LinkedIn, social media, whatever your platform of choice. And that's a whole nother conversation, but you really have to think of who your target audience is and where are they. If you're selling to folks under 25, then you need to be on TikTok, right? If you're selling to other businesses, then you need to have a strong presence on LinkedIn, right? If you're selling to people over 50, Facebook's your marketplace, right? So think about where your customers are and post there. So 50% of your content should be educational. People go online primarily for 2 reasons, to learn or to laugh. They don't go there to be sold to. Even though it's chock full of advertisements, people turn them off, they ignore them, they scroll by. And your whole goal is, how do you stop the scroll? How do you get people to say, hey, this guy always says something, or this gal always says something important. I always learn something. I always get inspired by this person's content. The ultimate compliment is when somebody shares your content. If you put out something that's so educational, people will share it, right? And then it has that opportunity to go viral. So video is still the best medium, but you can also put graphic quotes, photos, Some people like to write mini blogs. Whatever your method is, just put content out there. But 50% of it should be educational. And you'd be surprised the information that you take for granted that could be valuable to somebody else. Even if you're, a handyman, here are the top 5 ways to winterize your home. That's a great piece of content that could also become a lead magnet for you. Somebody wants to download that white paper on how to plan for your, living trust or something like that. They're going to give you their contact info in exchange, right? So lead magnets, education, 50% of your content. The other 30% of that content, right, should be entertainment. This is where you might show the culture at your office. Maybe you have a dog that comes in every day and you record from the dog's perspective what your office looks like, or your team out for some sort of team bonding activity, or maybe some community service project that your company is active in, or some social cause that's important to your company. All those things fall under the entertainment aspect. Before and afters also. If you're a home remodeler, if you're a plastic surgeon, right? Before and afters are great content that falls under entertainment. Now that's 80% of my content, and I haven't sold anything yet, right? 80%. The last 20, that's when you can say, hey, I'm offering a free course, or hey, I'm going to be speaking at this event, and here you can buy tickets here, or hey, we're offering a website revamp package, or I don't know, we're going to provide a free audit of your I don't know, your retirement plan. Whatever your pitch might be, it's okay to share it on social, but do it after you've built a following. Only 20%. The biggest mistake I see, Chris, out there is entrepreneurs, especially those that are really aggressive, is that they have that ratio upside down. They're selling 80% of the time, and then they might post a joke, or they might show a vacation photo or a sandwich like you do. But 80% is selling, and if you're selling 80% of the time, you're losing followers. People get tired.
People are buying none percent of the time.
Exactly. So follow that golden content ratio, and I think you'll see some success in your followership and in the sharing and in your personal brand, positioning yourself as a subject matter expert.
I think that's great. We've got another 4 or 5 minutes left. I want to make sure everybody knows that your book launched your brand. Other than having some hack write the forward, this is a heck of a book. Where can people get that?
Yes. So launchyourbrandbook.com is where you can find it. You can buy autographed copies there. It's also available on Amazon. There's also an ebook version that you can get on the website as well. Again, that's launchyourbrandbook.com. It's based off of seminars that I do with many incubators and business accelerators around the country. I'm also a longtime volunteer for SCORE. So it's a great kind of step-by-step approach to launching your brand, from establishing the look and feel, your messaging, to your digital footprint, to driving traffic and brand awareness. So it kind of covers those three gamuts, and is chock full of examples in there. And also some of my stories in there that we've shared here. And again, Chris, thank you for writing the forward, which we managed to get some giraffe in here. So
never too much giraffe or cowbell. And we've got, so you mentioned SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives. Yes. That's another great nugget. People, if you want to find someone in it, people who are seasoned professionals in an industry that don't cost anything, they're happy to check you out. I'm happy to help you out. Check them out at score.org. We've got, and people can find you at peraltadesign.com.
Yes.
Right. Any other handles you want to share?
RamonPeralta.com will take you right to my speaker page, and you'll see some of my artwork there. I don't know if this is the right time, but
go for it. You mentioned it in the beginning that you were excited. And listen, the reason why we do things as entrepreneurs is so we can live a life of, we do it for the freedom, and then we end up having no freedom. But you said in the beginning, art was something you started with, and now you've come full circle. 50 years later, you've got. So tell us what you have going on in the art.
Absolutely. I mean, people say I left at 9 to 5 to work 5 to 9, but I love, even though my calendar is completely chock full, I love the freedom that it brings. It's full because I want it to be, and it's full of a lot of the different things that I love doing, whether it's exercising or golf or now painting. And I kept waiting and waiting, like, when I retire, I'm going to paint. When I sell the business, I'm going to paint. I'm going to do this. And the reality is, Chris, we're in our 50s now, and a lot of our colleagues are just no longer with us. And I said to myself, what am I waiting for? If I have the freedom now, I built this business. They don't need me. I actually think I close more deals when I'm not in the office. So if they're fine without me, what am I going to do with this free time besides try to pay it forward and help others and do all the speaking? I wanted to kind of reconnect with what my original passion was, and I was inspired to paint. And so I'm very excited to announce that this fall I'll be having my first installation at a community college, CT State Community College in Bridgeport. It's going to be up there all semester. I'm dropping paintings off next week. Actually, I've done about a dozen paintings. I work in acrylic, and it's really hard to explain what it feels like to actually use your talents and gifts, your God-given talents and gifts. And it's something that I just said, I'm doing it now, and it's part of it is my immortality. Part of it is my legacy. I envision, like I mentioned, I'm having a grandson. Long after I'm gone, my paintings are hanging in my great grandson's home, right, somewhere down the line. And so I'm doing this whole series on ancestry, and it's also a give back for me, because when you're from the Caribbean, you realize, and you do your ancestry, you're everything. I've got Spanish, Portuguese, African, indigenous, all kind of ancestry is mixed in when you're from the Caribbean. And so my paintings are I call them conversations with the ancestors. And I'm doing a series of self-portraits, musical instruments, food that come from all these different cultures and countries, as a way, I think, to bring us closer together. The central message is we're a human race. We're way more alike than we are different. And so it's my motivation to continue painting. I'm very excited. And I just want to say, for those entrepreneurs and hustlers out there, is that a dream deferred is not a dream denied. Use your gifts. None of us want to get to the pearly gates and then, shrug our shoulders when God asks us, so did you use the gifts I gave you? Did you share them with the world? And you're like, nah, I didn't have much time for that. So I don't want to be that guy. I want to make sure I'm using all my gifts, and that I'm also sharing them with others.
Well, thank you very much for sharing them today. I want to let you get out to do some more painting. Everybody, Ramon Peralta, RamonPeralta.com, Peralta Design, the author of Launch Your Brand If You're Ready. I cannot thank you enough for jumping on. I know you're actually heading out of town and traveling, and you made time for this, for the audience and for me. So, brother, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm off to Scotland. I'm going to go play St. Andrews.
Good for you. Perfect. I love it. So 4, we're on our way. So everybody, thank you for being here for this episode of Be the Giraffe with Ramon Peralta. Don't forget that you have to elevate your perspective and see a better path when you want to be a giraffe. We'll see you next time.